One strategic relationship can do more for your business than any other social media platform or strategy that you're going to put in place within your business. If you're listening in and you haven't yet applied to my business mastermind, I highly recommend that you do so. This is where you're going to be able to not only forge these relationships, but create strategic relationships that are going to move your business forward. Many of you may have noticed there's been a shift in the way that I give examples. I used to often talk about bloggers because, as many of you know, I started off as a lifestyle blogger and sold that business for 6 figures after working on it for 10 years. Now, as a business coach, I have found that I'm not speaking directly to bloggers anymore. I am speaking more towards business owners that are looking to put in place online products and services, and specifically speaking to therapists. And that relationship developed from one relationship that started out. If you've read the book, The Pumpkin Plan by Mike Michalowicz, then you know he talks about finding that perfect pumpkin that is your ideal client. And your job is to continue to create great big pumpkins just like that ideal client. Well, I have an ideal client, and I hope she's listening and knows exactly who she is. Because what has happened is because I was able to help her so greatly in her business, because she was willing to do the work and put forth the effort, I have attracted many more therapists because of that one relationship. And that is what a strategic relationship can become. It started off as something where she actually got tagged on an Instagram post for a post that I had made about Small Business Saturday. And we hopped on a free 30-minute consultation that I offered for small businesses on Saturday because she happened to be the winner. Well, from there, our relationship has gone over the course of probably 5 years at this point. And I quickly realized she was my great big pumpkin. Now that for me was a strategic relationship that I have created, and it has greatly impacted the actual focus and journey of my business. Where as I start to transition to speaking largely to therapists because they're overworked, they are trading time for money by being within a actual therapy room. And by being able to create online products like workshops or courses, they're able to get time back and actually have passive income coming in where they're not trading time for money. So you can see how one strategic relationship can actually change the game in the course of your business. Now, for me, that was actually a relationship that turned into a client, but it didn't necessarily have to be. I've worked in masterminds myself that I have been a participant in, where I've forged great relationships with others that have helped me better understand how to go about growing my business based on the things that they had put into practice. And this is strategic growth. Making connections, building those relationships, and continuing those relationships over the years. There are many that I have participated with and have continued to have that relationship with over the course of many years. So I want you to start to think about where can you find those strategic relationships, those connections that are going to be able to help you expand your business beyond. Not simply staying in your quiet little house where you are not actually having any sort of interaction. You have to get out from behind your computers, your screens, and actually start to forge relationships. I even did this as a lifestyle blogger. I made sure that I reached out to others to collaborate. And this is how you can start. You do not have to keep yourself all to yourself because it can be very lonely, and you will find that you are doing the same thing over and over again. And I want you to be able to think outside of the box. And in order to do that, you often need the wisdom of others who have broken through that box. So, trying to figure out where you can start to forge these connections is going to be important. You can start looking in Facebook groups that maybe are specific to your niche, and a group that is developed around the idea of continuing to grow their business. You don't want to get stuck and sucked into a Facebook group where the sky is falling, where you see every time something changes, an algorithm, AI, that everyone just throws their hands up and goes straight into a negative spiral. You want to find the communities that are positive, that are pushing each other forward, that are figuring out how to get past the new changes. There's always going to be changes. You are in the wild, wild west. I've been saying this for years, prior to Pinterest even existing. It's always going to be the wild, wild west. The era that we live in, you have to be able to move forward and figure out how to use the new technology like AI, as well as how to overcome the algorithms that you are potentially getting hit with. So, finding the right groups is going to be key. You can also find them from events. If you participate in an online summit, finding the people that are the right fit for you, whether they are a speaker or whether they're an attendee, that is the place to find someone that could be a powerful connection for you. Even if you were to find them as an accountability partner to start out, I have had some of my insider members that were put together as accountability partners, and years later, one of them attended the other's wedding. These are the types of relationships that you want to be forging. You want to continue to engage and be able to have it be a powerful connection that is going to move your business forward. Some of you might be thinking, how can I go about and find these? Well, we've already started to talk about Facebook groups and potentially some online retreats, but you can also start to reach out to people that may have similar podcasts or YouTube channels or even blogs. If there's someone whose list you are on and you love their content, I can tell you, as someone that's been doing this for a very long time, my favorite thing is to get a reply in my email telling me what the biggest takeaway was or asking me a specific question based upon the training that I'm giving. When you can continue to engage with someone, become that super fan that is going to be able to pull information more from that person because they're already giving you so much, that is only going to benefit you as well as them. Because again, we want to make sure that if you didn't already listen to the video from 2 weeks ago, where we talked about networking and we talked about this idea of the 4 types of ways in which you can network, I want you to go back and make sure that you watch that video. But you need to be doing this from a standpoint of not out of obligation, but of trying to benefit both of you. And starting from the point of how can you help them? When someone reaches out to me in my inbox and asks, how can I help you? Or makes a specific suggestion on how they can help me, I am going to be 10 times more likely to answer that email than I am if they were to cold pitch me, not showing the benefit to me. So for example, if you're reaching out to try to get onto someone's podcast, make sure you tell them that how you can benefit their audience. Because as a podcast host, that is what we are trying to do. We want to benefit our audiences. So don't solely pitch me and tell me that you're so wonderful and you've done all these great things. That's fabulous. But be specific to my audience. How what you have done is going to benefit my people is what I care about. And it's what anyone else that has a podcast or a YouTube show is going to want to care about. So when you are starting to try to create these connections, make sure that when you are reaching out, that you are making it about how you can benefit them, because they then in turn will look to benefit you. And it's not just solely about the exposure of getting onto their podcast. It's about that relationship now that you have forged with them. Because as a podcast host, I also host summits. I'm more likely to invite someone that was a podcast guest that was outstanding and showed me how they were benefiting my audience to participate in a summit than I am to have a guest come on that's just going to pitch themselves and talk about how wonderful they are. I need it to be about the audience, and so do you. So when you're starting to try to create these connections, this is what I want you to be thinking about. Really start to try to think, how can I make sure that this is benefiting them and their audience, rather than it being about, how is it going to benefit me? What am I going to get out of this? Today, I want you to think about who you have in your personal relationships as well as your business relationships that you could actually benefit from helping them and creating a larger connection with them. So start to think about, brainstorm, who is someone that's already in your world, whether it's within a Facebook group, whether you've been a previous podcast guest or they've been a previous podcast guest. How can you benefit each other? Because that is where the real magic is going to happen. It is about creating stronger relationships with those that already like, know, and trust you, not only from your audience standpoint, but from their standpoint. I want you to take that action today. Now, if you haven't already applied for my business mastermind, this could be a great place to start, to have a group that has like-minded women business owners that are looking to grow their business over the course of 6 months, who are strategically putting practices into place, getting feedback, and having the accountability and relationships to actually get it done.